Yeah. Mm. So welcome people with this new religion map. We shall continue this series. And for now this episode is going to be about Germany and its three different religions. That being the light turquoise religion, the cyan religion, the light cyan religion, which is the Ukrainian version of the cyan religion. There's the Mediterranean version, which is mainly predominant in Iberia. So yeah, during this period, we're going to see the main German, the German crown lands, the, the German crown lands collapse of the Civil War. A bunch of French, a bunch of paganist French revolters. I mean, these people aren't French; they're German, but still. So they control these three cities and they take over almost half the empire. They are aided by the Dutch, while this German country collapses into a civil war. So a bunch of people trying to make this area French pagan are moving in, committing massive atrocities, causing the Imperial Civil War to begin. The, I mean, the Confederate Civil War, as it's still the German Confederation, but the German, but since the United, but with the retaking of this area, we're going to see some religious changes. Firstly, due to the massive amounts of genocide committed in these areas are going to become French pagan. And by the way, German paganism does exist actually, but it's mainly over here and nowhere else. It's only in Scandinavia and Pomerania. But this religious different this war was actually could be a massive genocide war, but and what I mean by that is just both sides' victory conditions are either killing each other or assimilating each other. They basically don't want to compromise. So basically, the Gaza situation, but in okay, yeah, compromises in Gaza, yeah, whatever it's in Gaza. But this is basically just. But by this point, if one side doesn't win, this war might end up for the French and the Frisians. And the Frisians decide to stay neutral, but with the French aiding and allying these new revolters, with the French being actually one of the most centralized empires. Emperors Frisia intervened, seeking to become the new emperor. Along with to secure its holdings. While this while this would be a great thing for like for but religious tensions also rise up in Aquitaine. With this northern while the Aquitanian capital is here and it's predominantly Cyan religion, the the more nationalistic, basically the Orthodox Cyans. There's the Mediterranean or the Greek religion, there's the Roman version of it, there's the Celtic religion, there's the Germanic religion, Baltic, Russian, but this religion has quietly spread over like a continuation of 300 years, and it's mainly spread to the amber trade routes, as you can see here. I mean, with the main effect with the countries like, and this new series of wars would be because of this religion. Yeah, this is actually what the map looks like. So we have the Aquitanian leadership siding with with the traditionalists and the evangelists. So a bunch of Aquitanian people move in. They capture northern Catalonia, but the Catalan resistance is not just going to surrender like that. They're gonna fight, as they're gonna fight a lot. The Lusatians want to aid these guys, but when they try to aid the Basque rebels, because like, ain't we're no way helping you with your weird religion. And by Basque I mean Northern Iberia or Northern Iberia revolts. They are Celtic religion, because Celtic religion has become the predominant pagan religion slowly but surely. I meant by Celtic, I mean the French, the pink one. So they quickly move in into Ossetia, and they launch a siege and defeat it. Eventually, they decide to sign a peace treaty, but the line is basically just here. Oh, okay, no, a bit more like this. But the entirety of northern Spain going to these guys. But with protests going on, the current king is assassinated, the king of Aquitaine is assassinated, and the Roman Republic decides to launch an invasion of Aquitaine. Well, Aquitaine would actually, it was starting peace talks and maybe even with Catalonia, Roman troops just moved in, catching them and defeating not defeating. They in just a few days they captured all these cities, and basically all these areas basically just surrendered without a fight. But all the Cyan religion areas are still fighting and are still Aquitanian revolters. The French also decide to jump in, taking over all of this. They annex all of this area, and Rome annexes all of this. Eventually, in the peace talks, Aquitaine is reintegrated into is reintegrated, and Aquitania Catalonia is formed. Hmm. So also, the Basque country also decides to get this, and the small tribe that moved in here and then who integrated with the population decides to ally with the Cyan Religion Alliance or the Imperial Alliance in German wars in order to kick the French out of Britain. The quick launch invasion. They land on the French coast, but a lot of the population which hasn't been integrated yet decides to revolt. These are the I would like to call them Mercia, and Mercia expands, moving into Yorkshire. But Yorkshire is just a mix, so Yorkshire also splits off and becomes its own independent country. While Mercia keeps all its military, the French are forced to lose all of Britain, which Britain did only really because they were only there for the coal and oil resources, which Britain didn't really have a lot of even then. So yeah, the French didn't lose. The French they want to expand into further into Germany. But the Imperial Alliance is also able to march. They are able to occupy the capital Frisia, and Frisia gets easily captured, along with the French rebellion. They quickly meet up, and the Western rebellion is also put down, with the Dutch already on the side of surrendering. The French offer them a deal. They join the, the Dutch should join France because of their similar culture. The Dutch accept. Same with the fallen Munster, and now this turns into a war against France. So the Franco-Imperial War. This area is still not in a part of France, but French troops quickly push. But there's a problem. You see, culturally, these areas aren't truly integrated into France. Plus, many actually want to be a part of the empire. I mean, the empire is way more stable than the French. But even then, many still want to be pro-French, especially the military cadets that will take their cities back. But the French also get encircled. The French are forced to dry out, and the second the German offensive begins, this time the Germans look like they're winning, and the final peace offer is created, thus being the Treaty of Munster. The Treaty of Munster would basically be a massive population exchange, which actually would be equal. But this valiant war would not actually serve the empire. It would actually weaken it. With this, the empire is now weakened, and weakness means they are about to experience another crisis. Please subscribe.